So the Donald Trump clown show continues, and basically the news out today was that consumer sentiment is absolutely sinking. It's been happening since the beginning of the year, since Trump became president. Basically, people look to the future, they look at the jobs, they look at what they think about inflation, and they're like, man, just things don't look good under Trump. And essentially, when consumer sentiment sinks, as it's doing right now, and I think it's the second lowest on record, people just stop spending. That's and ultimately what it ends up being, right? If people stop spending, businesses slow down because like no one's coming through the door. Say you're a restaurant or a retailer, then you start laying off because there's just not enough customers coming in, and then it starts spiraling, right? You lay off people don't have enough money to spend, they're worried about their jobs, and then they're not going to spend, and then it continues some more, right? No business coming through the door, etc.
And you've got this breaking news right now. Moody's downgrades United States credit rating on increase in government debt. And this comes at a time when Trump and the GOP Republicans want to pass a tax bill that basically adds $2.5 trillion to the U.S. budget. And so Moody's is calling it out with the downgrade, basically saying your math ain't mathin'. We'll read a bit here. Moody's rating slashed United States credit rating down a notch on Friday, citing the budgetary burden the government faces amid higher interest rates. And here's a quote: "This one-notch downgrade on our 21-notch rating scale reflects the increase over more than a decade in government debt and interest payment ratios to levels that are significantly higher than similarly rated sovereigns." And so basically our math, our budget, and now under Trump, it's going to get worse. And we got the downgrade on the USA.
This is actually really important to track, again, consumer sentiment, because it's also tied to tariffs, right? Which is that Donald Trump thing of like, yeah, I'm going to declare a trade war on everyone. And it just came out today. Trump's now saying that maybe this thing will go through the end of 2025. So we still have, and this is the trade war that is, so we still have months of uncertainty ahead of us. It's really hard to say where he's going to set the levels of tariffs on China. Let me give you some estimates. So this is actually coming from Bloomberg. It says here, median estimate at the final level of tariffs in China, maybe 20% is the median. High estimate is 60%. Low estimate is 3%. And again, we've got to talk about the consumer sentiment because we don't actually know what the end of tariffs is going to be. As I showed you guys in that chart that was coming from Bloomberg, the estimates are all over the map. And so like under that environment, at first I talked about, say, consumer sentiment is down, but what about how businesses are feeling? Like, how do you plan anything? How do you hire employees? How do you put in your orders when you don't know how much you're going to have to pay? Let me give you an example. It's been happening to a lot of people recently. They order something, right, from overseas. It comes in, and then they get a bill from UPS, and the bill will be like, you owe $100 in taxes or $200 depending on, how much the cost of your item is. And for some people, it's like a major shock, which I completely understand. And then you've also got this headline: Meta battles an epidemic of scams as criminals flood Instagram and Facebook. So essentially, when things are expensive, people are online looking for deals, right? It makes sense. And what's going to be happening, and be careful out there on Facebook, Instagram, and maybe other places, there'll be sort of these like fake ads, fake websites for, hey, get a cheap lawnmower, or hey, get cheap pair of work boots, etc. And you go through and you maybe give your credit card information, whatever, you're ordering what you think is a legit product, and then you get like this crazy email. Check out this out. This is a screenshot here. It says, "Good morning, Don. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, we do not sell online or over the phone. I believe you may have been scammed by a fake account. As we have seen this happen in the past, I recommend doing a chargeback to your card." I mean, what a hassle, Now, to be fair, usually credit card companies are pretty good about this kind of stuff. But, you don't want to take that risk that hoping that, okay, I'll just order anything all day, every day, regardless of a scam or not, and just hope that I'm protected by my credit cards. I'll say this, actually, it happened to my wife. She was looking around for, a shirt, and she saw one. She's like, oh, wow, there's like this crazy limited time deal. It's like 80% off, right? And the website actually looked legit. I saw it for myself. I was like, oh, okay, cool. You should get it, right? And then, further investigation, you're like, wait, this is a fake website. This is not the official one. And oftentimes with these kind of websites, it'll look real. And even the website address might seem, pretty similar, be it whatever product that you're looking at, so it'll be like, it'll say like Nike.net or whatever. It's like clearly not Nike.com. You get my point on that one. So please be careful. people out there. So will things improve? Well, this is a headline coming out of Bloomberg. It says, Trump says U.S. to set tariff rates for other nations in weeks. So basically, because they can't meet with everyone, they're going to be doing this like across the board and in some haphazard way without any particular negotiations. Here's a quote directly from Trump. It says, I think we're going to be very fair, but it's not possible to meet the number of people that want to see us. What? The president asserted that there are, quote, 150 countries that want to make a deal. He didn't say how many or which nations would receive letters. The countries that get them could appeal, Trump added, without explaining how the process would work. Right? Of course, that's how Trump does stuff. He just make stuff up. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have all these deals. Everyone wants to meet with us. We're doing so awesome. And I think that's kind of his default, right? If he doesn't really have a good answer, he'll just tell everyone, you know, we're gonna have lots and lots of deals and it's gonna be the greatest deal of all time, etc. This is what's the reality of it though, is what's going on in Congress right now. They're actually fighting over how much to cut your Medicaid. It's a real problem, and meaning that, you know, the Republicans want to basically cut stuff that you need. And the stuff they want to cut actually really helps people. This is a headline that just came out today also. It says, as Congress debates cutting Medicaid, a major study says it saves lives. And ultimately that captures sort of like what the Republicans think about you. It's a problem. And I know, you know, it's frustrating to talk about this stuff, say with family or friends. We've had this discussion many times. I see many people in the community say, but, you know, Chris, I have like a, you know, MAGA family member or a MAGA friend in my life. And I try to just, you know, talk to them, you know, realistically about these things like, hey, you know, you're going to pay the tariffs, or hey, Trump's policies are awful and he just cares about himself. And like, for some people, I guess facts don't matter to them. I know, guys, it's really frustrating. But what you have to do is just be honest. Like, hey, did you order something from Walmart? or did you get something from Amazon? Like, what's the cost? Like, how are you, you know, feeling? Like, and people are ultimately going to figure it out, because when they get those bills, be it from UPS or whatever, they're going to realize they're the ones paying the tax. And if you're curious what all the stuff is behind me, well, I'm in Busan, Korea. We're having our sand sculpture festival this weekend. We actually got fireworks happening tonight. And if you want to see more, check out our channel, Chris and Yeji, where we'll vlog the whole event. And it's going to be really cool today. And then you have this headline, which is also really important. It says, Smartmatic says evidence shows Fox execs didn't believe election claims. So basically, this thing came out where a bunch of evidence shows that Fox News knowingly and purposely lies to people, which we know that already. But it matters when it goes to court, right? So let me read a quote here. You'll see here. It says, the case presents unprecedented evidence of actual malice, admissions of disbelief from dozens of individuals across every level of Fox organization, from the showrunners to the chairman himself. No court has ever encountered such a mountain of confessions from those responsible for publishing defamatory statements. Wow. And I bring that up because when we go through the news every single day, be it with consumer sentiment, be it with what the markets are doing, be it with whatever scams are happening on Facebook or Instagram, or be it whatever nonsense that Trump is saying, it is a major, major problem when you have a big news organization like a Fox News, frankly, just lying to people nonstop. And they're knowingly lying to people, right, about any number of things, be it the election fraud stuff, or they'll lie to people and sort of like fudge numbers about approval ratings, these kind of things. It's stuff they do a lot. Or they'll make up fake, you know, controversies like the whole seashell thing. And unfortunately, this is just the world that we live in, is that there's a lot of people out there that don't have your best interest at heart. That's just the reality of it, and it's really a shame. Let me give you a simple example. So Trump's got his whole meme coin thing, right? And he keeps saying, oh, well, you know, crypto's the best, crypto's so awesome, and we got to stay ahead of China. That's the stuff that he says, but like, he has no idea what crypto stuff is. And, you know, also with the whole crypto thing, there's a lot of foreign money coming in, basically buying, you know, favor, buying FaceTime with the president. It's like totally corrupt. And the basic defense that they always say is like, well, we looked at all the laws and regulations and we're doing great. It's like, okay. And then that's where you would seriously want people in power to protect you from scams and these kind of things. But remember, the Trump people, they're only interested in essentially enriching themselves and their billionaire buddies. And so that's why when you put all this stuff together, I ultimately think as the consumer gets hurt, and remember, USA is a consumer economy, and consumer sentiment continues to sink, it'll also sink Trump with him. So guys, don't give up hope. Midterms are coming. People are going to realize the reality, and that's what's up. I want to hear your thoughts on this. I do appreciate your time, and I'll catch you all in the next video.